What is up, 156 Nation? It is your host, Anthony Gulick and Marcus Martin. No Rondo today. We're bringing you an episode of the First and 56 podcast covering the Indianapolis Colts. Today, we have a special guest with us today. He is obviously a Houston Texans fan. His name is Denzel Snipes. I'm going to plug his socials here at the bottom. And Denzel, thank you for coming on.
Hey,
And
thanks.
just plug yourself for us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. You all know me as I think this is the first time I really talk like kind of face to face. I'm also the president of productions on Sideline Sports Network, and just to let everybody know, this is really great material. I'll sit here and I'll be going through the shows and everything, and then I see the passion about you guys' team and everything, and when things are good, they good. When they bad, and then it's the way y'all put y'all energy into it, man. Just let y'all know I might be a Houston Texans fan, but I'm a fan of the show. Great work, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. So first off, I just wanted to, throw on some friendly banter just to get this show rolling. Just
Come
because,
on.
just because I like it. Obviously, you guys know I'm from the PA area, and I actually know I have a personal friend of mine, not somebody like who, just was like in my area. A personal friend of mine got drafted to the Texans. Obviously, you guys know him. If you're a Texans fan, his name is Juice Scruggs.
Yeah,
He's an offensive lineman from Penn State. He got drafted as a center, but I believe now he's been playing a little guard.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's a super stand up guy. It's funny. I actually reached out to him after the draft. I was like, man, like it's gonna hurt when I buy that jersey, man. Like just buying that division rival, man. It's gonna hurt. Like, man, I was really hoping somebody on the West Coast would take him. So I wouldn't have to worry about these conferences. But I'm happy for my boy. But Houston Texans, it's I really hate to buy that jersey, but as
Yeah.
I was talking to these guys before this episode started, I mean, Houston is my least hated team out of all the AFC South teams. Actually, the first NFL game I was ever at was in Houston at NRG, the COVID year when Philip Rivers was quarterback.
Okay.
Um, so that was like my first NFL experience, and the reason behind that was because there wasn't that many fans there. So if I went into enemy territory, I wouldn't have to worry about getting in fights and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and when I was down there a few years ago, Houston was a super cool place. So
Mhm.
I really don't mind Houston at all. So.
Yeah, I live here in Houston. As a matter of fact, I live about probably 6 minutes away from NRG Stadium, and man, we're really chill, man. I told you, we really don't outright hate the Colts. Okay, maybe there was that time period, like remember the Andre Johnson, Courtney Finnegan thing. Okay, there
Yeah.
was a time period like we kind of hated the Titans, but outside of that, like we don't outright hate the Colts. We hate the Cowboys. We, as long as you're not coming with some Dallas Cowboy ish, we good. Anything will just be friendly. But after that, man, we'll snap pictures and throwback beers, dude.
I understand that. I understand that.
But yeah, let's get this show rolling. So Denzel, let's go with you first. Obviously it's been a really surprising year for both of our squads. So from the beginning of the year, you draft CJ Stroud, you draft Tank. You get some other great draft picks like Juice, as I said, rebolstering that line.
Hmm.
Going into the season, did you think that they would be this good? Did you think CJ was gonna catch on as quick as he did?
We clearly overachieved. And I've mentioned this on the gauntlet for our preseason preview back in August. I had Houston at 7 wins. I had it 7-10. In fact, my exact prediction was that we would be in the playoff race late in the year, like at like 7-5, but then we'd find a way to drop our last five, and then we'd end up 7-10. But considering the fact that 7 wins was as many wins as our 2 years combined, that would have been an overachievement. And now we just locked up a winning season. And so did the Colts. So people really expected the division to be as bad as the NFC South because you figure the Colts were in a rebuild. Houston's obviously starting over. No one knows what Tennessee's going to be. Tennessee's kind of like the most unpredictable team in the division. Like one year they're the number one seed, and the next year they're a wild card, and the next year they're out. Like it's crazy. And then so pretty much everyone was like, okay, the Jags are the class of the division. There's the Jags and there's everybody else. But now we finally got a quarterback, and we also got a running game too, picking up Devin Singletary from Buffalo and giving him the carries that he needs because he was in a pass heavy system out there in Buffalo. People had the Texans at a bottom 3 wide receiver core in the league, and then just like that, everyone fell in love with Tank Dell. Just like that, here comes the resurrected soul of Robert Woods, who was in a Super Bowl once. Then Nico Collins started coming out. Then we got John Michie back, who actually recovered from leukemia. So this is his first year playing. Uh,
Mhm.
Damian Pierce, he a little bit to get his legs back. He's kind of the power back, and then we pick up Dalton Schultz and Noah Brown, both from they were Cowboys just last season, and we've got a formidable offense. We got youngsters on defense. Pretty much the only veteran is Jimmy Ward, who came over from San Francisco along with D'Amico Ryans. So most definitely proud of this team. And we got a shot at the division crown. We got a shot at a wild card berth, and that's something that absolutely no one had us at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Denzel, I want to talk about a little bit of that defense you guys got going over there. The first meeting with the Colts, you guys put up, you didn't look too good. We had AR5, he went for 2 touchdowns early in that game. And, it kind of looked like you guys were a little bit shook, first couple drives that we had going on. But since then, you guys' defense has really stepped the game up, man. I mean, you're in the top 10 in just about every category. Tell us a little bit about, what sparked that and your head coach, D'Amico Ryans, what kind of energy you think he brings to that squad on the defensive side of the ball?
He's a young, fiery coach. He is amplified, by the fact that he played in Houston. He still holds the rookie. What was it? The sacks record. No, not sacks record. For most tackles, he holds the tackle record for the team. And then you look at Will Anderson Jr., who was our third overall pick. He just broke the rookie sack record. He broke J.J. Watt's rookie sack record. He had 7 on the year. Watt had 5.5. Derek Stingley Jr., who was our top 5 pick the year before that. He got a bit of the injury bug. And then once he stayed healthy, and I told people, I said, watch, when he's healthy, watch out for him. You look at the Denver, I think he got like 4 or 5 steals this year so far. The Denver game, he picked Russell off twice, that dude is a ball hog. Then you got Steven Nelson out there, Jalen Petrie, who was coming to us from University of Baylor. They're really young. Oh, and then there's also Grenard and Blake Cashman as well. And we got a pass rush. I mean, what I would like to see is this team get back to the days of the Bulls on parade. The 2011 through 2016 defense. Back when we were like a top 5 defense on a consistent basis. And when the offense was heavy, was kind of run heavy, Schaub was just making plays and all and such. But now I think we got the potential to have both a top 5 and a defense and offense. With CJ Stroud, the man looks like he's been there before. He has. He looks like he's been there before. And every so often a rookie comes along. There was a guy once upon a time named Andrew Luck that played for you guys. In rookie year, he looked like he'd been there before. That's why I really hated that for him, man, as his career ended prematurely, in my opinion. That's another story. But now, as far as the Texans go, the first meeting, AR5 was running all over us. I was getting pissed. I was like, what? We can't stop this dude. Then he went down with that injury. I hated that for him. I hope he comes back, stronger next year and everything. It's funny. We are fans of our teams. Of course, you're going to hope the Colts dominate every game they play, and I'm going to hope the Texans dominate every game they play. But in theory, as long as we're successful, however way it turns out, the whole division being competitive would in theory be good for football.
Oh, it's definitely good
for sure.
So look at the AFC North right now. You know what I mean? Like up until last week, every team had a shot at making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The Bengals just got eliminated. So to have a competitive division like that, it'd be great. Texans are a different team since the first meeting, so we'll see what happens. Because one thing that always I don't care how good or bad the Colts are doing, they find a way to get us. And it's like I just want to, because there was 2015 we actually swept y'all. I think we swept y'all another time since then. But it's like, man, I don't care when here's an example: the year that Manning was out, y'all found a way to beat us in Indy. and you won 2 games. Like that was like the
That-
Colts find a way to get us, man. I'm
that-
hoping things are different this Sunday
I'm just gonna lay the
or
record
Saturday.
down for that one. That was T.Y. Hilton.
That was T.Y. Hilton.
That was T.Y.
That
Yeah.
Hilton.
was that was Ty. That was, and it's funny you mentioned that because there up until recent this season, it was like Derrick Henry always is that guy that loves playing the Texans. Before him, it was T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
It was T.Y. Hilton, and I drafted him one time on fantasy football, and I was like, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna get something out of it. So
Good call.
But all in all, I mean, I'm looking forward to a good game this Saturday. Currently, Houston is 1.5 point road faves. And yeah, we'll see what comes out, man. I'm just glad that we got a primetime game. We was like the only team in the league because the Colts they had a primetime game this year, didn't they?
No,
They didn't.
Yeah, we're one of the teams that haven't. Yeah.
we're one of the teams that
we're the
didn't
only
have
ones
a
left.
primetime. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're the
yeah,
only ones left.
yeah. It's crazy. I remember us, the Texans. I forgot who else, but like Bryce Young and Carolina had one, but like we didn't.
get one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
The Bears had one. Like I was so mad. I was like, you look at y'all lost AR5, but Minshew's balling out, right? So you would think, man, the Colts are looking good. Maybe we should flex them. Then you see what Stroud and the Texans are doing, and it finally took week 18 to be like, you know what? Let's go ahead and they deserve it. Let's get the Saturday night slot. So hey, let's make the best of it. I'm just happy on prime time.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, before we switch topics, I wholeheartedly believe like if Miami and Buffalo wasn't like for the AFC East, this game would have been Sunday night football. I mean, there's just no if, ands, or buts about it because there's no Monday night. Right. So literally, it's the last game on the slate. Win and get in. I mean, it was like that for us. I think Luck's return that year against Tennessee. I still remember watching that game. That was Sunday night. But just to flex it a little bit, I want to talk about the momentum going into this game. So obviously, like I'm on Twitter, well now X a lot. I see a lot of the banter. Usually Colts fans really don't get like too agitated, but I feel like from both sides, there's just been a lot of just talking and just banter. So I want to get your perspective, Denzel. Just on CJ Stroud, because this is what I want to talk about. From my perspective, just watching him, I feel like he's kind of like Deshaun Watson, like that year, that COVID year when I was there. I mean, I see a lot of like similarities because just like you said, they had a bottom 3 wide receiver core according to everybody else in the league coming into the year. Like that year, I remember like Chad Hansen was the Colts killer. I mean, like this guy was like a practice squad guy. He was going for 100+ yards every time he played the Colts. And then like I remember watching the Buccaneers game, Baker Mayfield threw a touchdown with like 45 seconds left. And I swear to God, I'm like, how the hell did CJ Stroud just come in and win this game? And coming in to this game, Coach Steichen said at his press conference that CJ was playing at an MVP level. And, a bunch of Colts fans have kind of been, saying like, oh, no, he's not, blah, blah. But I'm just like, nah, like, he's for real. Like, I'm scared as hell about CJ Stroud. Like I'm not just saying this either. I mean, like, this dude could wholeheartedly throw for 300 yards because, Gus Bradley literally runs the most predictable defense on paper. So how do you think CJ Stroud is going to perform in this game? I mean, personally, I think win or lose, I think he's going to throw for 300 yards. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, last week was his first game back following his concussion. He had missed the previous 2 weeks. He went in there and he was comfortable. He threw for 213. He threw a touchdown pass. Still upping his chances for offensive rookie of the year. As of right now, he is the leading favorite to win offensive rookie of the year according to Bleacher Report. Believe they had him at a minus 2,000 to win the award. I think Stroud goes in there. And I do think he does have a good passing game, a very good passing game. He very well may go for 280 to 310 passing and several touchdown passes. And you would think after Tank Dell went down, all he did was just readjust. He brought Brevin Jordan out there into the fold. Started dumping the ball off to Devin Singletary. CJ Stroud is a man who, like I said, he's played like he's been there before. And it shouldn't really shock anybody, honestly, because I'm going to go back to a year ago in the Peach Bowl when Ohio State played Georgia. CJ Stroud was Georgia's defense only problem that year. I mean, he shredded that defense. And we're talking about Georgia, the SEC, So you see what Stroud can do, you know. I think Stroud's going to do his thing. It's going to be up to the rest of the team to, step up when it matters most because I'm not overlooking number 10 for you guys. That dude is a baller. I've said that Gardner Minshew was the best backup in the league. I know Richardson will come back next year and get a starting spot. With that being said, I think that Minshew, if he doesn't stay with the Colts, he's going to go elsewhere. Because the man believes that he can start. If you guys do win the game or even win a division, I mean, you deserve it. We're two teams that worked hard to get to where we're at. But Stroud's a real deal, and I think he'll get. I think he will be the first rookie quarterback since Dan Marino to get an MVP vote.
I will say this, Denzel. I would agree with you with CJ Stroud. I live in Ohio, so I'm in Buckeye country, and I watched this kid. For I think he was in college 3 years at Ohio State, and he it's just something about him. He's got that poise that nothing rattles him. I know they matter of fact that Georgia game right before that they were the media was on him about how much he doesn't scramble and he doesn't move around, right? And he really showed Georgia in that game that hey, if I want to, I can use these legs also. So
Yes.
I agree with you with CJ Stroud. I don't think he's going to have that big of an impact on the passing game. The reason why I say this because the first meeting that we played you guys, we had basically a mediocre a secondary back there. Juju Brents, he was still trying to return back from his injury.
Mhm.
Jalen Jones wasn't even thought of in that game.
True.
We didn't even give him a chance. And then we had Baker and we had Flowers as our two corners, and only one of those corners actually held the fort down. The other one kind of just let CJ Stroud do whatever the hell he wanted to do. So I think in this game, with the young corners that we have, not saying that CJ Stroud's not going to have a good game. I'm just saying it may not be in that 300 to 320, 330 mark, in that area. I'm looking more maybe 280, 260, somewhere around in there. But the way we run our defense, it's a dink and dunk defense. I mean, CJ Stroud is good at finding the open guy. So, and our defense with Gus Bradley, with the way he calls the game sometimes, everybody's open. You know what I'm saying? It'll be everybody on your offense open. You can put a left tackle out there and he'll be open because of the way the defense is what Gus Bradley calls.
Right.
But I look for Gus Bradley to be a little bit more aggressive this game. I think this game here, you're going to see a lot more blitz packages. I think you're going to see a lot more disguise coverages. I think we confuse CJ Stroud a little bit this game. And then with the fact with having JT back, we didn't have JT the first game. We got JT now. I think this game is going to be close, but I think it's going to come down to the kickers and who can win it. That's just what I know it's not going to be a blowout. If it is, I'm surprised, but I think it's all going to come down to the kickers. My question for you is, the expectations of this team. Of course, you said earlier that they were very low, which my expectations for the Colts at the beginning of the year was very low. I picked us to, I think I said 5 or 6 games, Anthony.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect us to be where we are now. I'm in total shock. I love it. I'm looking forward to next year, especially when we get AR back. But for you, I mean, this has to be real exciting to come down to the last game of the season to be determined for the playoffs, considering at the beginning of the year, you had no expectations of even being in the position. So how do you feel?
Man, and just think about that for 1 second. One of us is going to walk out of that game with a 10-win season.
Yeah.
Just like you said, low expectations. Anybody will tell you it's hard as hell to win 10 games in the pros. It's hard to win 10 games in college, let alone the pros, And but I did want to quickly touch on the first meeting. In the first meeting, Stroud actually threw for 384 and 2 touchdown passes.
Yes, he did.
And Houston's defense only held the Colts to 3 points in the second half. And the crazy part is we both have been different teams since then, so it's hard to call. You
Yeah.
know, at least if you're on a neutral side. Now, of course, being a coach, y'all are gonna take the Colts, and I expect you to do that. I'm gonna take the Texans. Just like expected. But
Right.
from a neutral standpoint, it's hard to call because they both have been different, better, much improved teams since that week 2 meeting.
Yeah.
Now I will say this much, and y'all might smile a little bit on this and get a little warm and fuzzy. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
The Houston Texans only average allowing 88 rushing yards per game. Generally, no one runs on the Texans. Ironically, only one team's been able to do it.
Indianapolis.
Different quarterback though. Different quarterback though.
Different quarterback. I mean, when you look at the running game, though, and even then in the first meeting, Moss had 88 in the score, but you got JT back. JT typically loves playing Houston, also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's
averaging
climbing
about
out.
100.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a concern. I think that what we would do, it's like playing Tennessee. You take King Henry away, and you probably got the game half won. Only thing is you can't take the Colts lightly, because if we take JT and Moss out of the game, Minshew can still kill us.
That's true.
So but to go back to your question, man, the expectations, they were low, because we were both rebuilding squads, but to have this happen, like, I didn't fathom it. People actually thought Bryce Young was going to be the better quarterback this year, just because they didn't believe the Texans had the weapons. At least Carolina had Adam Thielen,
Right. Right.
But and it's crazy because I was like, man, should we really go into the draft and draft him a true number one, or let him grow with Tank Dell? I think the overwhelming answer is let him grow with Tank Dell.
Right.
Right. So we could take that pick and go and put it elsewhere. But with that being said, I mean, like I said, looking forward to a great game. Again, I hated that for AR5. I really wanted to see him play a full season and see what he can do. But I think the kid's gonna come back strong. I think he's gonna come back strong next season.
Yeah, me too. So that's just going to lead us into our last point, which is going to be a little bit longer of a topic here, but it's just going to be our game and score predictions. So I want to go first. Before I get to the score predictions, I just want to talk about the momentum leading up to the game. So, obviously, outside of the cordial like fans that we are, I think 98% or 99% of the United States has already placed their bets on the Texans this Saturday. I mean, you look at national media outlets, everybody's picking the Texans. I don't think really anybody's giving the Colts credit. And, this kind of goes back to expectations at the beginning of the year. People really like to talk about our schedule lately because, Colts fans have kind of been asking for respect. I mean, I've been seeing it on Twitter, and, a lot of guys have been like, look at your schedule. Just my opinion from the schedule argument. I mean, we were already projected to win like 6 or 7 games, and you kind of just play on your schedule. So, for example, like if you lose all those games, people are just going to think you suck anyway. So, you can't control who's on your schedule. We can't say, hey, I want to play the 49ers instead of the Patriots this week. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You can't like switch it out. So I think that the entire world is thinking the Texans are going to win this game. And, I'm going to steal a point, which I saw from an NBA podcast. I know you guys are some NBA guys too. They had Evan Turner on. He used to be a 76er he used to play with Andre Iguodala on the Sixers, and they were talking about their matchup with the Celtics when they were young. That was like when I was like 10 years old, playing second round. They're like, would you rather see Heat and Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals or Heat and 76ers? And then everybody was like, man, honestly, like I'd rather see, the Heat and the Celtics. So they were saying you got to win by 15 to win by 1. So basically, like, you got to play your best game because the NBA is a business, officiating is going to go their way as much as like they hate to say it. The players even came out and said, you know what I mean? And CJ Stroud, to me, at least, he's been this rookie sensation. The Colts have been a great story too with Minshew, but I feel like the NFL would kind of like to see the Texans in the playoffs instead of the Colts. Minshew is kind of a he's kind of the Uncle Rico type of guy that people like his personality, but watching this guy play, he's a backup quarterback. He's the best backup quarterback, but like if you compare him to CJ Stroud, like he's not in the same league as CJ Stroud. I mean, I hate saying that because he plays for the Texans, but he's not a guy who can go and get you 400 yards. I mean, I was actually looking at the stats from the Jaguars game. He dropped back 55 times. He only had 330. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Minshew's not a guy who can pass for 400 yards.
No.
So I'm thinking the Colts, if they want to win this game, I'm going to pick the Colts to win. I'll say the Colts will win 31-30 in a close one. But the Colts literally, like, you can't turn the ball over at all. Like, you have to, you got to just complete like 80% of your passes. Like, the run game's got to be on because, I just feel like the Texans are going to keep coming back. And then, also officiating. I mean, like, I hate to say it, but, we did get screwed in the Browns game, in our house. I mean, not a lot of people who don't really watch AFC didn't really see what happened against the Browns, but we really did get cheated against the Browns, and we saw obviously what happened to Detroit this past Saturday, and I'm thinking like, hey, is the game going to come down to a refereeing call? Which like I hate to blame referees. It's just stupid in my opinion, but this is the first year where around the league it's been universally bad,
Right.
And so I'm just kind of thinking like the Colts have to like literally play a near perfect game if you want to do that, just because you just feel like even though the Colts are home, they're underdogs at home. Everybody kind of wants to see, the new phenom CJ Stroud in the playoffs. That's just kind of how I'm feeling this is going to be. If AR5 was playing, it's even better, like half the sides, because I feel like a lot of people liked Richardson, like 50% of the cordial like regular NFL fan would want to see Richardson. The other half of them would want to see CJ Stroud, but everybody's kind of like, Minshew is good, but they ain't going anywhere anyways. So let's just have the Texans win because the Texans could maybe do something because who knows? Andrew Luck had the big comeback in his rookie year.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's 31-30 Colts, but I just kind of have a bad feeling like because I just feel like the odds are stacked against. Even though we're at home, the odds are super stacked against us. Not the same teams as week 2.
Yeah. But the crazy, and I hear everything you're saying, but they're forgetting one thing, and gentlemen, you know this. We typically don't play well in Indy.
Yeah.
History has shown it. We
Well,
typically,
last year though.
but what? We can count on both hands how many times Houston's actually won in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So that's why I think our backs against the wall. I probably would feel better about the game if it was here in Houston. If it was here in Houston, I would feel a little bit better about the game. But yeah, I've got the Texans in a close one. It may. Before I get to that, Minshew may not be a gunslinger, but he can get you 30 to 40 on the ground in crucial situations. So there's always that. But I got the Texans in a close one. I'm going to say Texans 30 to 24. It may come down to if the Colts may have a late lead and then a CJ Stroud touchdown in the middle of the quarter. But I hear what you're saying about the refs and everything. It seems like you can't trust them this year.
on either side, really.
On either side, yeah. But also at the same time, any coach will tell you never leave a game in the hands of the refs. If you blow your team out 31-3, then you got nothing to worry about, right? Yeah. But let's be real. This is life, and some games are close and some games are blowouts, You just got to hope that when that flag hits the ground, that it's not against you. So I'm going to say Texans, even if he goes for the, like Marcus said, even if he goes for about, 280, or 270, as long as the Texans win, I'm good with it. I'll say Texans 30 to 24. Again, if we can contain JT, we probably got the game 25% won. But there's my score prediction.
Okay. I'm Anthony, I'm going to agree with you as far as where we're playing at and then the refs and stuff like that. I think this was the most confident I've been all season long. And the reason why I say this is because we've been in this situation before. A few years ago, we were down to the last game. Well, let's take that. Last year, Colts, Texans, for whoever's going to have a chance for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Had the game in the bag. in Houston, matter of fact. And what happened? Houston comes back, wins. They get the second overall pick. Voila, here they get C.J. Stroud. So that's kind of like a little bad taste in our mouth from what happened last year. We have some veteran guys that was actually on that squad that actually remembers, when that happened, because you don't ever want to end the season on a loss. That's probably one of the worst things, the worst feelings ever, is to end the season on a loss. So I feel real good going into it. Now, I'm not saying just because I feel good that they're going to win. I'm a season ticket holder. I go to just about every home game. So we do not play well at home for some ungodly reason. We seriously do not play well at home. I mean, our record is what? 500. Like we're even, at home.
Y'all split at home? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we've let teams come in that, we know we're supposed to beat and beat us down at home. So, but I'm going to say the X factor is going to be Michael Pittman Jr. And the reason why I'm going to say he's going to be the X factor, and I'm not going to even leave out Josh Downs, because like you said, if you contain JT, that's 25% of, that you almost guaranteed to win the game.
True.
But the way Michael Pittman is balling, and you got Josh Downs, is like you guys is Tank Dell. Mm-hmm. So, and if you let Gardner Minshew get out of the pocket and get to moving around,
exactly,
Josh Downs, that's what he does. He does the same thing that Tank Dell does. He takes off. So the X factor is going to be between them two. I don't really think JT has a really, really, really good game. I think he has a solid game, but just not a really, really like the old JT Houston games where he run for 120, 130 yards. With that being said, I'm gonna do my score prediction. And like I said earlier, I think it's going to come down to either Matt Gay or Farabon. So I'm going to say in a low-scoring game, 20-17 Indianapolis.
So you got it. You got the game at a race to 20.
Yes.
Okay.
First one to 20.
Yep, first one to 20 wins the game. I can respect that. By the way, I know I was looking at the you guys' home record and everything. Don't forget that it wasn't that long ago that you gave up a quick 13 to Pittsburgh, but then scored 30 unanswered to win the game.
Yeah, right.
Then there was also that was another good game I came across here. The Saints had no business beating you.
The Buccaneers was a good game, I'll say. That was probably our best home game.
Yeah, because I think the Bucs actually got a late score and then y'all came right back. And see, that's the thing. Just like y'all said, if the Texans win, it's going to be because of Stroud. I think if the Colts win, it's going to be because of Minshew. He'll find a way to get down there and get Matt Gay in position.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna let you guys finish it up. But I'm gonna say this. I need Shane Steichen to call one of the best games he's called all year. Show you guys something that you ain't never seen before. And I mean, bring it quarter after quarter, not just one time and then don't use it the whole game. I hope he has 4 or 5 plays that he just got stashed for each quarter for something different and, to catch you off guard. I need him to call his best game. If he calls his best game as a rookie head coach, just like DeMeco Ryan, if he calls his best game, Indy wins it.
And he'll win. I can definitely see that. And also keep in mind that, outside of Kevin Stefanski for the Browns, I think top 3 candidates for coach of the year would be Stefanski for the Browns, Steichen for the Colts, and DeMeco Ryans for the Texans. Yes. So we could take solace in that right there,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to touch on, which is what I forgot, honestly, about, so many things going on in my head, was the injury report. So I saw that Laremy Tunsil is questionable. He's a little bit banged up, but Jonathan Grenard is going to be out, who has 12.5 sacks. That's your best pass rusher. Yeah. And Noah Brown is also out, which, Noah Brown can go off here and there. But do you think that that's a big loss for you guys, not having Grenard in there? Because, the Colts offensive line last year, it's the same 5, but they were really shaky. Even Nelson last year was shaky. Everybody was really wondering how he got into the Pro Bowl last year. But this year, they're kind of like they're getting back to their elite status, and we kind of got a chance to see that this past week. Braden Smith just came back. He was he missed 2 weeks ago against Atlanta. He came back this past week. The Colts are relatively healthy. I don't really think we don't have any injuries. Kenny Moore's coming back, so we're going to come in fully healthy. But like I said, the Texans have some injuries. I think Robert Woods is also questionable. And they kind of happen to be a few of your top players. So do you think the Texan injuries are going to have any impact on the game? I mean, people really forget that Tunsil was out the first matchup, and that's why we got 6 sacks. I mean, I'm not going to say it was all him, but he was a piece. So does that play a part? Do you think?
Yeah, it'll play a part. Now, also, it would be dependent on Stroud of getting out of the pocket faster as well. Keep in mind that first matchup was his second ever regular season start. No, they are big losses. But if Will Anderson Jr., if we have him coming off the edge, I think that may make up for Gwinnard being out. Noah Brown. I mean, yeah, it is a loss, but Stroud finds a way to get everybody else involved. And then not only that, but if the running game is there, Devin's going to get like 25 carries. So you're right. Stroud might not go for 300 yards if Singletary's putting up 150.
That's true. That's true.
So I mean, I think we agree it could go either way. You look at the line, with Houston 1.5, Vegas has it at a close game. We're not talking Cowboys Commanders where the Cowboys are favored by 13 because we know the Commanders are bad, right?
Right.
Even Vegas sees that this could go either way. So you bet on Indy, you bet on Houston. It could be either more, but the mark of a good coach is being able to plug and play where you're missing. Losing Stroud for 2 games was one thing. Now, granted, we did win 1 game with Keenum. But then you lost AR5 and you went this way with Minshew. Good coaches know how to plug and play and motivate their players to step up, and that's what Shane Steichen's done. That's what he's been good at, That's why the Colts got as far as they did. That's why the Texans got as far as they did,
right.
As far as the pass rush, as long as Will Anderson Jr. steps it up huge, that'll be big, Like this isn't like the Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis, versus J.J. Watt and Brian Cushing days, These are the youngsters now, making a name. Will Anderson Jr. will have to step it up. We still have Blake Cashman, who is one of our best tacklers as well. And then we also got the young, hungry secondary. Stingley's playing, and he's had his lockdown moments. I'm going to check the status. I think Ward might be out, but Petrie is coming back off the bench, which will be good. So yeah, most definitely we'll see. I don't think it will be a big change, but again, you can't forget the Texans running game as well. Go ahead.
I think this is going to be a big storyline regardless of whoever wins this game. And
I agree.
2 rookie head coaches taking their teams to the playoffs and getting them in the dance. It doesn't matter which way this goes. It's going to be a huge storyline. There's going to be Steichen or it's going to be D'Amico. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. We're 24 hours away. Well, a little bit longer. About 24 hours away. I think it's going to be great. I'm mad that I can't be there because, I sold my tickets, but because I didn't think this game was going to be at this magnitude, so I sold them earlier in the year. I know, man, I know. So, but I'm gonna be somewhere nice, laid back, chilling, drinking me a beer or two, and hoping we get the dub. So, like I said, big storyline though. Either way it go, man, and and you can't ask for anything more or anything better than what we got right here, because like we said at the beginning, the expectation for both teams were non-existent. So
we were supposed to be a 1:00 game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were supposed to be a 1:00 game, possibly on Sunday, So this is huge. How far away do you live from Lucas Oil?
About 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
That's not bad at all. With traffic, probably 2.5, 3.
I usually leave early, so give or take. Well, it all depends on what time I leave. If I leave early, it's a piece of cake. If I leave a little later, then I get caught up in the traffic, wait in the park and stuff like that. But that's not too bad.
Okay. Awesome.
Anthony, take it away.
Yeah, no problem. All right, fellas. So obviously we appreciate Denzel again for hopping on. It's going to be a great game this Sunday. I'll plug his socials down here at the bottom again for y'all. Let me plug this here. So he's at Denzel Snipes 13 on YouTube and Nelly Nell 13 on X. Make sure to follow us right here. Rondo, myself, and Marcus, and also Sideline Sports. Obviously, Sideline is a great network. We were telling Denzel before the episode, me and Rondo personally have been bouncing around the past few years. The networks that we've been a part of really haven't been showing us this type of love. So we've been just super grateful to be a part of Sideline, and every show on the network, everybody behind the scenes, everybody does great work, and it's nice to be a part of a place who everybody just respects each other and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
been it's been super great. So just want to say thank you to Denzel, thank you to Sideline Sports, and we are gonna be out.